The prank that changed a galaxy. The Great Hall of Halor Prime was full of glowing lights, proud nobles, and loud laughter. Tall aliens with silver robes stood around, sipping bright green drinks, enjoying the biggest celebration of the year. At the center stood a human Captain Jace Rowan, looking very out of place. He had just come to trade fuel cells and food packs. Instead, he found himself invited to a royal party, surrounded by strange food, strange music, and even stranger aliens. Then came the moment that would change everything. A group of Halorian nobles walked forward, smirking. Behind them stood a young woman with glowing blue eyes and golden skin. She was wearing a royal dress, but her hands were tied with light cuffs. "We bring a gift to our honored guest from Earth," one noble said loudly. The hall went quiet. All eyes turned to Jace. "A gift?" Jace asked, raising an eyebrow. "That's generous." The nobles laughed again. "Yes, a gift. We offer you this noble girl Liara to serve you. You may keep her." Jace blinked. "Wait, what? She's a person. It's just a cultural joke," another noble said, waving his hand. "A funny little prank. You humans like jokes, right?" Liara's face showed no smile. She stood quietly as locked on Jace, silently begging. Jace shifted uncomfortably. "Right. Well, I love jokes. This one's hilarious." He tapped a small button on his wrist, turning on a secret voice log. "Captain's log. Stardate December 7th, 2525. Got handed a living person as a joke. Not funny." Before he could protest more, alarms rang through the palace. Red lights flashed. A deep, robotic voice shouted, "Pirate attack! Pirate attack! All citizens report to shelters." Chaos exploded across the room. Nobles screamed and ran. Guards pulled out weapons. Jace turned, trying to find the exit, but suddenly, Liara was in front of him. Her cuffs dropped to the floor with a soft clink. In one swift move, she grabbed the blaster from Jace's belt, spun around, and fired 3 clean shots. 3 pirate drones crashed to the floor behind him. "Whoa," Jace whispered. "Where'd you learn that?" "No time," Liara said, grabbing his hand. "We need to get to your ship now." Jace didn't argue. Together, they sprinted through the smoke-filled halls, dodging laser fire. Outside the palace, pirate ships flew overhead, dropping more droids and bombs. They raced through the spaceport, blasters flashing. Jace's ship, the Sparrowhawk, sat on landing pad 6, shields weak, but engines ready. "Get inside," Jace yelled, pressing buttons on his wrist. The ship's door hissed open. As they ran up the ramp, Liara shot down a drone right before it could hit them. The door closed behind them with a loud slam, and the Sparrowhawk lifted off, dodging lasers and explosions. Inside the cockpit, Jace gripped the controls. "You sure you're not secretly a soldier?" he asked. Liara gave a small smile. "You have questions. I'll answer them when we're safe." The ship soared into space, passing the pirate blockade. Jace punched in hyperjump coordinates. "Hold on," he said, with a blast of light. The ship vanished into hyperspace. Hours later, the ship floated safely in the dark emptiness between systems. Jace sat across from Liara in the tiny kitchen of his ship, a steaming cup of tea in his hand. "So," he said, "are you actually a gift? Or was that just one messed up alien joke?" Liara looked tired. "I was born into a noble house, but I'm not like them, clearly. They fear me, not because of who I am, but because of what I carry in my blood." Jace raised an eyebrow. "Now that sounds dramatic." Liara touched her wrist. A soft golden glow came from under her skin. "My bloodline is ancient. I am the last of the royal seed descended from the first Halorian empress." "Okay, impressive. But why the gift thing?" "There is an old prophecy, one they try to hide. It says, 'The child born of alien and royal shall bring unity to the stars.'" Jace blinked. "Hold up. Are you saying yes?" Liara said. "They gave me to you as a joke, but they feared what might happen if I stayed. So they tried to make me disappear, quietly. And the pirates? Not random. They were paid to make sure I didn't leave Halor alive." Jace leaned back in his chair. "I knew I should have stuck to cargo jobs." The ship's AI beeped. "Captain, Scans complete. Vital signs on your passenger. Unusual. What kind of unusual? Jace asked. The screen flashed. Genetic match. Royal Halorian Dynasty. High compatibility. Strong biosignal response to Terran DNA. Jace looked up. Eyes wide. Liara just nodded. Outside the window, stars glittered silently. Inside the ship, the joke was over. The prophecy had begun. Stowaway with secrets. Stars outside the window glowed like tiny diamonds, calm and cold. But inside the Sparrowhawk, nothing was calm. Captain Jace Rowan stared at the screen again, trying to make sense of it. Genetic match confirmed. Royal Halorian bloodline. Strong bio response to Terran DNA. He leaned back slowly in his chair, eyebrows raised, voice flat. You're telling me you glow when you're near me? Across from him, Liara looked away. Her hands were folded, her golden skin shimmering faintly. It's not glowing. It's reacting, she said softly. It's a signal. The royal blood responds to potential mates, especially humans. Jace blinked. Why humans? Because of the prophecy, Liara said. The council believes a child born of human and royal Halorian blood will bring peace and power. Too much power. Peace is bad? For them, yes, she said. If the galaxy unites, they lose control. Jace stood and paced. Okay, let me get this straight. They gave you to me as a joke, knowing pirates would attack, hoping you'd die in the chaos. You escape, we end up together, and now your DNA is flirting with me? Liara raised an eyebrow. It's not flirting, it's biology. Jace pointed a finger. That's worse. She gave a small smile, but it faded quickly. There's more, she said. They didn't just want me gone. They're hunting us. Right now. Pirates were just the start. As if on cue, the ship's alarm blared. Jace's heart jumped. Unidentified ship, approaching at high velocity. Of course they are, Jace muttered, running to the cockpit. The screen showed a long, sleek black vessel. No lights, no markings. Military grade. Silent. Deadly. Liara stood behind him, her voice steady. That's a Halorian shadow ship. An assassin cruiser. Jace stared. They really want you dead. No, she said quietly. They want the prophecy erased. Back in the cockpit, Jace hit the thrusters, flipping switches. Time for Plan B. What's Plan B? Liara asked. We run like hell. The Sparrowhawk dove into a nearby asteroid belt. Rocks the size of houses floated past the windows. Jace twisted the ship through tight gaps, the engine screaming. The assassin ship followed, weaving like a ghost. They're faster than us, Liara warned. Jace smirked. Yeah, but I'm dumber than them. That's an advantage. He swerved hard left, skimmed an asteroid's surface, then dropped the ship into a narrow canyon between two spinning rocks. The assassin ship chased close, too close. Jace hit a button. A charge dropped from the back of the Sparrowhawk. Boom. The asteroid exploded, sending a shockwave through space. The assassin ship vanished behind the smoke. Silence returned. Jace exhaled. I'm either a genius or insane. Liara looked at him with new eyes. Both, probably. Later, Safe for Nothi landed on a quiet, hidden moon. The surface was dark gray and covered in frozen lakes. It was a refueling station, long abandoned. Jace knew it from old smuggler maps. Inside the station, they sat again, finally breathing. Tell me more, Jace said. About the prophecy. About you. Liara hesitated, then spoke. There was once a Halorian empress. She ruled fairly, but her council feared losing power. They killed her and erased her bloodline, or so they thought. But you're her descendant. The last one. My parents hid me, trained me to survive. But when I came of age, the council found out. They didn't want a royal heir. So, they turned me into a joke. Gave me to a human. If I died, no loss. If I lived, no one would take me seriously. Jace shook his head. That's dark. Even for nobles. Liara looked at him. They made one mistake. What's that? You're not the kind of human who lets people die for politics. Jace rubbed his face. Well, I do hate politicians. The deeper secretas. Liara sat near the fire, Jace stepped into the ship to check the med scans again. Something new blinked on the screen. Secondary DNA spike detected. Host, Lyara. Estimated gestation, 3 days. Jace froze. Wait, gestation. He clicked through more screens. The computer confirmed it. Early pregnancy. And the DNA? 50% Terran. He stumbled back. No way. Lyara appeared at the door. She had seen his face. You found out, she said. Jace stared at her, whispering, "How I told you, reacts to Terran DNA. Our connection," she stopped, voice soft. "It only takes one moment. One trigger." Jace wasn't sure what to say. His mind raced. He looked at her. "So, that prophecy? That baby?" Lyara nodded. "It's already started." Meanwhile, deep in Spatian, the bridge of the Halorian flagship, Counselor Threx watched the screen with cold eyes. "The assassin failed," a soldier said. Threx's lip curled. "Of course, he did. Send the bounty to the mercenaries. Make it public." "Public?" The soldier blinked. "That will bring all kinds of hunters." "Good," Threx hissed. "Let every bounty hunter in the galaxy chase them. We don't need clean hands. We need results." He looked at the screen showing Lyara's face. "She cannot be allowed to reach the outer systems. Not while that thing grows inside her." Back at the moon, Jace stood outside the station, staring at the stars. His thoughts were heavy. Lyara stepped beside him. She looked strong, but tired. Her hand rested gently on her stomach. "I understand if you want to leave," she said. Jace looked at her. "And miss all this? I'd never forgive myself." She smiled. "Eyes shining. Then we need to move fast. The council won't stop. And if we're going to protect this child," Jace nodded, "we'll need allies. And a plan." The stars above sparkled, but danger loomed in every direction. What started as a joke was now a race across the stars, with the future empire growing silently between them. Run, human, run. The Sparrowhawk was no warship, but she had spirit, and right now, spirit was all Jace and Lyara had to outrun death. Jace slammed the control panel as the ship groaned beneath them. "Come on, girl. I just fixed that thruster." Lyara sat in the co-pilot chair, scanning fast. Her voice was calm, but her eyes weren't. "We have 6 bounty hunter ships on our tail. All armed, all fast." "How fast?" Jace asked. She looked at him. "Too fast." Behind them, space lit up with bright red bursts. Laser cannons fired across the blackness like glowing fireflies on a rampage. The Sparrowhawk twisted, dove, and dodged through an asteroid field, engines screeching like they were protesting. Every second of this chase, a bounty had gone live across the entire galactic network. Target, Lyara Vel Threxion. Status, high-value fugitive. Bounty, 5 million credits, dead or alive. Bonus for human accomplice. And now, the worst people in the galaxy wanted a payday. The hunters close in. Jace swerved under a spinning asteroid, one the size of a mountain. A plasma missile flew over their heads and hit the rock behind them. The explosion lit the ship like a sunburst. "That was close," he shouted. Lyara's voice stayed steady. "Your flying is impressive." "Thanks," he said, breathing hard. "You're lucky this isn't my first time being chased by bounty hunters." "It shows," she replied, calmly pressing buttons. "I'm sending a signal." "A distress call?" Jace asked. "No," she said. "A trap." He blinked. "What?" She didn't explain. Instead, she rerouted power from the shields to a glowing orb at the center of the console. 10 seconds, she whispered. Jace had no idea what she was doing, but he'd already seen her take down drones, decode security, and shoot like a soldier. He trusted her, even if it made no sense. Suddenly, an energy pulse fired backward from the Sparrowhawk. A wave of light passed through the asteroids, and every pursuing ship behind them froze for half a second. Just half a second. It was enough. 2 hunters crashed into a rock. 1 exploded in a blue flash. A third lost control and spun into space. Jace stared at her. "Okay, what was that?" "A Halorian energy pulse. It scrambles navigation." "Illegal, of course." Jace grinned. "Remind me to never cheat at cards with you." into neutral space. They finally broke out of the asteroid belt, crossing into neutral territory, an old mining zone called Sector Blackfall. No laws, no allies, no safety, just rusted ships, floating stations, and dangerous people. Jace comes to a nearby station. This is Captain Rowan of the Sparrowhawk, requesting emergency docking. The voice that answered was gravelly. Only if you're not bringing heat. No heat, Jace lied. Just tired engines and a hungry crew. The station opened its hangar doors. They docked inside the station, a massive, rusted structure with flickering lights and leaking pipes. Liara covered her face with a cloak, pulling the hood low. They stepped into the dirty airlock. The smell hit first. Oil, metal, and old food. Not exactly luxury. Smells like a pirate's sock, Jace muttered. You know that from experience? Liara asked, amused. Don't ask. An unexpected reunion inside the station bar. Dimly lit and crowded with mercenaries, smugglers, and creatures from 20 planets. They kept to the corner. Jace scanned the crowd. We're not safe here, but we need information. Someone out there's got a plan to get us out of this mess. Liara glanced at the bar. Then the last person Jace ever expected walked in, tall, rugged, leather jacket, blaster on one hip. Cale Rowan. Jace froze. Oh, come on. His older brother, ex-military, ex-mercenary, now a bounty hunter with a reputation for selling out his own team. Cale walked straight toward their table. Jace stood slowly, ready for a fight. Been a long time, brother, Cale said. His voice was rough like sandpaper, but he wore a grin. Not long enough, Jace muttered. Cale glanced at Liara, then back at his brother. You picked up something shiny, I see. Or someone. Liara tensed. Her hand hovered near her weapon. Cale raised his hands. Relax. I'm not here for the bounty. Oh, Jace said. What? You're just here for the beer. I'm here for the truth, Cale said. The bounty on her is fake. Jace's eyes narrowed. What? The Halorian Council. They're not trying to catch her. They're trying to erase her. Quietly. That means anyone who helps her gets ghosted. Killed. Deleted from the system. That's not a bounty, Jace. That's a cleanup. Tensions. Liara leaned in. So why are you telling us? Cale looked her dead in the eyes. Because I want to see the council burn. He sat down, his tone serious now. There's a rebellion brewing. Small, secret. Halorian commoners, human diplomats, even old soldiers. They call themselves the Unchained. They believe in the prophecy. They want to protect you. Why should we trust you? Jace asked. Cale sighed. Because if I wanted that bounty, I wouldn't be talking right now. You'd already be dead. Hard to argue with that. The plan. Or the trap. Cale slid a data chip across the table. Coordinates to a meeting point. Deep space. No comms. No backup. If you want safety, you'll find it there. But you only get one chance. Jace looked at Liara. Her eyes held fire. We go, she said. We don't run anymore. We make our stand. Cale nodded. Then move fast. Because the hunters won't stop. And soon, it won't just be ships. What then? Jace asked. Cale's voice dropped. They'll send the Watcher. Liara's eyes went wide. The what now? Jace asked, nervous. The council's most feared weapon. A being born in a lab. No voice. No mercy. It hunts by scent, thought, memory. Once it's released, it never stops. Jace sat back slowly. Cool. So basically, the universe wants us dead. And now, there's a space terminator coming. Pretty much, Cale said, back on the Sparrowhawk. Jace and Liara launched back into space. This time, with a destination and an army of unknowns ahead. Jace turned to her. You still sure about this? Liara looked at the stars, her voice quiet but strong. If we don't run, we give our child a galaxy worth living in. Jace nodded. Then let's make the galaxy worth it. The stars ahead flickered like fire waiting to burn, and behind them, in the darkness, something monstrous stirred, silent, cold, and already tracking their scent. Brothers Bargain. The Sparrowhawk drifted through the silent shadows of space. No stars nearby, no planets, just darkness. The kind of darkness that made people whisper. Captain Jace Rowan tapped the control panel nervously. You sure about these coordinates? Beside him, Lyra stared out the window. Her golden eyes glowed. Softly in the dark. They're correct, she said. This is where the Unchained meet. Jace leaned back in his seat. Well, they picked the creepiest place in the galaxy. Good for privacy, bad for not dying. Suddenly, a ripple passed through the ship. No alarms, no flashing lights, just cold. Jace rubbed his arms. Did the temperature drop, or is that just my growing sense of doom? Then the screen blinked. Incoming signal. No origin, no ID. A deep, modulated voice spoke. Sparrowhawk, hold position. Identity check in progress. Lyra nodded. It's them. Jace muttered. Could be pirates. Could be someone in a trench coat with a rocket launcher. Seconds passed. Then a ship uncloaked in front of them. It was old, massive, and ugly. It looked like it had been glued together from spare parts. Rusted, patched, bristling with strange weapons, definitely not official military. A voice spoke again. Dock in. Bay 7. Alone. Jay stared at the speaker. Oh, I hate secret meetings. A ship full of strangers. They stepped into the unknown hangar. It was dark, lit by flickering lights and steaming pipes. Shadows moved along the walls. People watched from behind crates, their eyes reflecting like animals in the dark. Welcome to the Unchained, someone whispered. A tall woman stepped forward. Half of her face was metal. A glowing red lens replaced one eye. Her voice was calm, clipped. I'm Commander Vesh. You're late. Traffic, Jay said, shrugging. Vesh didn't smile. She turned to Lyra. We didn't think you'd make it. The Watcher has been released. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Then we don't have time to waste. Vesh led them deeper into the ship. Inside, a hidden world waited. Former soldiers, smugglers, Halorian rebels, even a few humans. Everyone looked tired, but hopeful, and ready to fight. At the heart of the base, around a glowing map table, stood someone Jace hadn't seen in years. Cale Rowan. Jace crossed his arms. I thought you just gave us coordinates. I didn't think you were actually in the club. Cale shrugged. I go where the fight matters. Lyra looked at him carefully. Why are you helping us? Cale didn't answer. He just turned to Vesh. Did you tell her? Tell me what? Lyra asked. Vesh nodded slowly. You're not the only one. She pressed a button on the table. A hologram appeared. A young Halorian child, maybe 2 years old. Golden skin, glowing eyes, and unmistakable human features. Jace's heart skipped. What? She's the first, Vesh said. Born from a union between a Halorian rebel and a Terran diplomat. Hidden from the council. They don't know yet. Lyra's breath caught. She's the future, Cale nodded. And your child will be the symbol. Jace looked from face to face. Wait. Are you saying there's a resistance movement that's making babies? Vesh gave him a flat stare. No, we're building peace. But to do that, we need a legacy the galaxy can believe in. A dangerous offer. Cale stepped forward. There's a way to end this, he said. A way to destroy the council's control. Lyra narrowed her eyes. Go on. They use an AI supernode on Halor Prime. It stores bloodline data, history, and royal claims. If we inject your DNA along with the child's, it will auto-update all systems galaxy-wide. The prophecy becomes fact. The council can't deny it anymore. Let me guess, Jace muttered. It's super protected and absolutely suicidal to get into. Correct, Cale said. Jace sighed. Of course, it is. Vesh stepped in. We've stolen a council clearance key. We have a narrow window, 3 hours. Then the system goes dark again. Cale turned to Lyra. We need your blood. And Jace's. She looked uncertain. And the child? Vesh shook her head. We don't need the child. We just need the signal. The possibility of the heir, backed by system data, will force a political collapse. But Lyra glanced at Jace. What happens after? The council won't just give up. No, Cale said. They'll retaliate. Hard. But it'll light the fire. Across the stars, people will rise. Jace rubbed his face. So basically, we poked the hornet's nest, set the nest on fire, and run? Kale grinned. Exactly. But then, everything goes wrong as they prepared the mission. Alarms suddenly blared across the ship. Vesh snapped around. What now? An officer ran in. We've been found. The Watcher is here. Everything went silent. Jace looked at Liara. That's bad, right? She didn't answer. The floor vibrated. The lights flickered. Then, they all went out. A single, heavy thud echoed from the hangar bay. Thud. It was coming. Vesh barked orders. Evac teams, move. Defense units to Corridor 5. Keep the package. Before she could finish, something screeched through the hull. A wall exploded. From the smoke walked a creature, nearly 8 feet tall, cloaked in black metal. No face, no eyes, just a breathing sound, low, panical, endless. The Watcher. Kale opened fire. The shots hit, but the creature didn't flinch. Run, he shouted. Jace grabbed Liara and pulled her down a side hall as plasma blast lit up behind them. Sparks flew. Screams echoed. They reached the medbay where the DNA terminal waited. The system was still active for now. Do it, Jace yelled. Liara pressed her hand to the scanner. It blinked red. Need both of us, she said. Jace slammed his palm down next to hers. The scanner flashed green. Data streamed into the system. Then everything stopped. The screen blinked. Genetic signature confirmed. Status: Legacy initiated. Royal Air Protocol activated. Jace grinned. Well, we just changed the galaxy. And then the Watcher crashed through the wall. Jace and Liara turned, shields up, weapons ready. But before the thing could strike, boom. Kale appeared from behind, tossing an explosive directly under the Watcher's feet. The blast sent it flying backwards into the flames. Kale stumbled, wounded, bleeding. Go, he shouted. I'll hold it off. Jace grabbed Liara and sprinted. The last thing he saw was his brother standing tall, gun raised, eyes burning, as the monster returned. Escape, and a new Flamethy barely made it back to the Sparrowhawk. The unchained ship was in ruins. Vesh was gone. The resistance now scattered. But the mission? Complete. Liara sat silently as the ship escaped into hyperspace. Her hand rested gently on her stomach. He gave everything, she whispered. Jace nodded. Kale always did the right thing. Too late. Then the ship's blinked. 100 systems, thousands of stations, millions of devices, all showing one thing. A royal child is coming. Born of 2 worlds. The future heir. The council's silence was loud, but temporary, because war was coming. And now, the galaxy was watching. Child of 2 Empress. The galaxy was burning, and it started with a whisper. Across star systems, space stations, noble houses, mining colonies, and even pirate dens, the message echoed on every screen. The royal heir. Lives. Born of human and Hilorian blood. The prophecy is no longer myth. For some, it was hope. For others, it was war. For the Hilorian Council, it was a declaration of extinction. On the run, Aganth's Sparrowhawk flew silently through the edges of an uncharted nebula, cloaked and damaged. Jace sat in the pilot's seat, one eye on the scanners, the other on Liara. She lay in the medbay, eyes closed, breathing slow. Her golden skin had lost some of its glow. Her energy was fading fast. Computer, Jace whispered. Vitals? Pregnancy confirmed. Fetal vitals strong. Maternal vitals unstable, he swore under his breath. No, not now. They were supposed to be heroes, survivors, parents. Now, she was dying, and he had no idea how to fix it. A secret sanctuary coordinates Kale gave them before his sacrifice pointed to one last hope, an old Hilorian moon, forgotten by the Empire. A place of old magic, as some called it. Jace didn't believe in magic. He believed in fuel, firepower, and flying fast. But right now, he prayed to space goats if it meant saving her. He brought the ship down slowly through the thick atmosphere of Moon Virelis. The surface shimmered with ancient tech temples overgrown with starlight vines, floating stones, air heavy with power. As the ship landed, a figure waited at the base of a glowing stairway. Tall, robes flowing, face hidden beneath a silver hood. "Welcome, daughter of stars," the figure said in a smooth voice. "And the man who carries the fire." Jace raised his blaster. "You'll need to be more specific." The figure pulled back the hood. A woman, ageless, eyes glowing white. "I am Siren, keeper of the core light." "You were expected." Liara stirred, opening her eyes. "The core light, it's real?" "Yes, child, and it is the only thing that can save you now." Ancient truths and DNA secrets inside the temple. The walls pulsed with life. Not mechanical but living crystal. Humming softly, Siren led them to a chamber where a platform of floating light awaited. She gestured for Liara to lie down. "Her child," Siren said, "is more than prophecy. It is fusion." "Fusion?" Jace asked. "Your bloodlines should not be compatible," Siren said. "But they are, stronger than we've ever seen." "The child is not a symbol. It is evolution." Jace felt like the floor shifted under him. "You mean, it's going to be a god or something?" "No," Siren said with a strange smile. "Something more dangerous. It will be believable. A leader the people cannot deny." Liara gasped as light entered her chest, healing energy pouring in. Her body lifted slightly off the platform. Siren touched Jace's arm. "But power attracts destruction. You must understand. The council has sent their final weapon." Jace frowned. "The Watcher? We already saw him." "Oh," Siren said. "The Watcher was just the sword. Now comes the mind." The mind of the council far across the galaxy, inside the deep Halorian spire. 13 nobles stood in a circle. In the center floated a brain-like creature, its tendrils wrapped in wires, eyes blinking from mechanical sockets. This was the architect, the council's oldest tool, a machine-grown intelligence fused with ancient Halorian DNA, created to maintain control over the Empire. But now, it had a different purpose. "Release the protocol," the architect whispered. A red sigil appeared. On a massive screen, Ragnara Kai, "Purge initiated." The council bowed their heads. All of them, except one. Councillor Vas Threction, Liara's uncle, stood tall. "This will kill billions. The prophecy is a disease," the architect hissed. "And you must cut out infection." Voss stared at the glowing eye of the machine. He didn't respond. But inside, something had shifted. Birth of something more. Back on the moon, Liara awoke with a gasp. The core light dimmed around her. Her glow had returned, stronger, brighter, pulsing with life. Her stomach curved gently now. The child was growing faster than expected, and stronger. Jace rushed to her side. "You okay?" She smiled weakly. "Better. The light saved me." Jace touched her hand. "Then we saved the galaxy." "Too late," said a voice behind them. They turned. Siren stood by a console, her face pale. "The purge has begun." Screens lit up across the temple. Cities on fire. Communication relays shut down. Refugee colonies vaporized by orbital strikes. Liara covered her mouth. "They're not just fighting us," she whispered. "They're destroying everything." Jace clenched his fists. "We need to hit back, but we've got no fleet, no army." Siren slowly turned. "You don't need an army. You need a voice." The voice of a Futurelira stepped into the heart of the ancient temple. A crystal beacon hummed at its center, untouched for centuries. Siren handed her a small golden sphere. "This is the star key," she said. "Old tech. It can override council signals across 500 systems. But it needs a living heir to activate it." Liara pressed it to her chest. The sphere sank into her skin, glowing through her robes. Jace watched, heart pounding. "You're going to speak to the entire galaxy?" Liara smiled. It's time they heard from more than just fear. She stepped onto the platform. The beacon lit up, and then her voice echoed across the stars. "I am Liara Vel Threction. I carry the legacy of Halor's first empress, and the fire of Earth's people. My child is not a threat. My child is a promise." The council hides behind lies, but truth travels faster than ships, and hope burns brighter than their weapons. This galaxy belongs to all of us, not just the nobles, not just humans, everyone. We are not afraid anymore, and we are not alone. Response from the Starson, a mining colony on Titanos. Workers stopped and cheered. On a freighter near the Orion Rift, the crew saluted the screen. Even deep inside the Halorian Council's own military, soldiers paused, some smiled, others removed their council badges, and in the shadows of a prison asteroid, someone listened carefully. Vostrection. He closed the screen and whispered, "So, she lives." And for the first time in years, he allowed himself to hope. But then, the real enemy moves just as Jace and Liara embraced in the temple. The floor shook. Siren looked up. Her face changed. No, it's already here, inside the temple. Space warped. Lightning tore through the skies. A massive structure dropped from hyperspace, black, triangular, silent. Not a ship, a spire, a walking fortress. From its top emerged a cold, hovering figure. Not the Watcher, not a soldier, but something worse. The architect.it had left the council chamber. It had come itself, because prophecy wasn't the only ancient power Halor had kept hidden. Now, the architect would finish what it started. Revolt of the common folk. The architect descended. No engine, no wings, no sound. The spire-like AI hovered above the ancient temple on Moon Virelis, like a god from a forgotten time. Its arms long, metal fingers curled like claws, cables flowing behind it like black smoke. Its eyes, if they could be called that, were a smooth mirror. You couldn't look into them because they looked into you. Inside the temple, Jace slammed the emergency blast doors. Siren, tell me you've got defense systems. Siren's face was stone. This place was built to heal, not to fight. Jace rolled his eyes. Well, that's comforting. Liara stood at the beacon, still glowing faintly from her galactic broadcast. She stepped down. Her face was calm, but her voice trembled. The architect isn't here to talk. No, Siren said. It's here to end bloodlines. The beginning of the storm and the mining moon Rex 2. Workers paused in their tunnels. Dust-covered, exhausted, barely fed. They had watched Liara's message, and now, they saw the architect descend in real time on their holoscreens. They knew what it meant. Not fear. Not control. Genocide. An old miner threw down his tools. No more. Others followed. On the prison colony of Kaskari Station, Halorian prisoners, rebels, innocents, traitors had heard the heir's voice. And when a guard barked orders that day, a prisoner stood and replied, "We serve a better future now." A riot exploded like a firecracker in dry grass, and on distant ships and silent outposts, a single symbol began to appear. A circle, split in half. One side gold, one side blue, the emblem of the heir of two worlds. The revolt had begun. Back on Moon Virelis, Jace sprinted through the temple, sealing doors, setting old traps, and yelling at the ship's AI through his Sparrowhawk. Start remote launch. Target lockdown zones. Be ready to blast anything that looks like it eats babies for breakfast. Clarify, define baby-eating appearance. You'll know IT when you see IT. The architect entered the outer chamber. Doors melted before it. Walls bent. Even gravity trembled in its presence. Liara stepped into its path. Standing tall. "You cannot stop this," she said. "The people have heard me. They believe now." The architect's voice was smooth, without emotion. "Belief is a virus. I am the cure." Then it raised a hand and the walls screamed. A fight they couldn't win. Siren tried to channel the core light, summoning ancient energy to block the assault. Jace fired 3 plasma rounds directly into the architect's body. They bent mid-air and turned to steam. Liara pushed out her energy, the royal glow trying to shield them. It wasn't enough. The architect's blast knocked all 3 back. Siren hit the far wall. Jace rolled over, coughing, ribs likely cracked. Liara's body convulsed, but the glow in her belly, the child, shone brighter. The architect stopped, paused, scanned. The anomaly grows. Its energy output is unpredictable. Then for the first time the architect hesitated. Fascinating. A voice from the dark. Suddenly, a new ship arrived above the moon. Stealth class. Human design. It launched something down at the surface. Not a missile, a person. The ground shook as a figure landed hard in the middle of the temple. Black boots, dirty coat, scarred face. Counselor Voss Threction, Lyara's uncle, the one who had stayed silent when she was exiled, the one who once ordered her erased, the one who had vanished after the prophecy was proven true. He looked older now, not weak or harder. He stepped between Lyara and the architect. "You want to stop this?" Voss said. "Then you'll go through me." The architect tilted its head. "Tramp." Voss smiled. "Finally." Then he pulled a trigger, and the temple's core exploded with EMP energy short-circuiting every system in a 100-meter radius, including the architect. The machine convulsed mid-air, glitching. Sparks flew from its head. "Go!" Voss yelled to Jace and Lyara. "You have 10 seconds." The SKP Jace grabbed Lyara, who clutched her belly, weak but conscious. Siren limped behind them. They raced for the surface lift. The Sparrowhawk hovered above, already lowering the cargo ramp. From behind, the architect shrieked a raw, digital scream. Its body repaired itself in real time. Voss didn't run. He drew a ceremonial blade from his sleeve, the kind passed down through Halorian bloodlines, and as the ramp closed behind the escaping crew, he turned to the machine and whispered, "My bloodline ends with a choice, not obedience." Then the architect struck, the voice of millions from space. The crew watched the temple collapse in silence. Lyara whispered, "He came back." In the end, Jay stood beside her. "We all did." The com lit up. Incoming messages, thousands of them. A farmer from Demos 9 pledging land for refugees. A captain from the Terran Union offering escort fighters. A rebel squad on Halor Prime confirming council security is collapsing. One message came from Kieran Mel, a former council historian. He appeared on screen, older than dust, but smiling. "I never believed the prophecy," he said, "but I believe in people. The people believe in you. The council has lost the crowd. You have something more powerful than any army now." Lyara blinked. "What?" Kieran leaned closer. "A story that people want to fight for. The council strikes back, but not everyone was ready to surrender." The remaining 6 council members met in a bunker beneath Halor Prime. Their once grand robes were dusty. Their hands shook. One member hissed, "They're everywhere now. Workers, soldiers, even children chant her name." I snapped. "It's not just her. It's the baby. They worship it." An old noble growled, "Then we destroy it." They turned to their last desperate weapon, Project Eclipse, a hidden weapon platform that could fire a dark energy pulse across a star system, killing all organic life. "They want unity," one whispered. "We give them ashes." And in orbit, Eclipse began to charge. But the people have changed on a Halorian warship orbiting Halor Prime. Soldiers stared at their screens. They saw the orders. "Fire Eclipse. Erase Lyara. Erase the child. Erase everything." The captain stood up. His hand hovered over the activation switch. Then he turned to his crew. "I didn't join the fleet to murder hope." He raised his blaster and shot the control panel. Another soldier stood for the air. Dozens followed. Mutiny spread across the fleet like fire. Ships turned. Weapons powered down. The revolt was no longer secret. It was victory in motion. A fight still ahead. Back on the Sparrowhawk, Jace and Lyara stood before a massive star map. They had thousands of new allies, but also new enemies. The architect had survived, and it was rebuilding itself on the ruins of Moon Virelis. Learning. "Wait in." Lyara placed her hand on her belly. The child kicked softly. "Everything's changing," she whispered. Jace nodded. "The people have risen." "Not just the people," she said. "The idea of a better future. It's alive now." "That's something they can't kill." Behind them, the ship's screens showed rising movements, planetary flags turning, and one symbol again and again, the divided circle. Gold and blue. 2 bloods. 1 future. But as they looked out the window beyond the stars, a shadow stirred. A new enemy, or maybe something far older. Air of Starst Galaxy was no longer quiet. Across 1,000 systems, flames of rebellion had turned into storms. Halorian nobles ran from burning palaces. Terran flags flew beside rebel banners. Miners, smugglers, soldiers, and students all marched under a single symbol, a split circle, gold and blue, the heir's mark. But for Captain Jace, Rowan, and Lyara, the war wasn't over, not until the child was born, not until the architect was stopped. In the shadow of the final enemy orbiting the old Halorian core world, the Sparrowhawk floated above wreckage, dozens of destroyed ships, some still burning. Below, the last Loyalist Council bunker was hidden deep beneath the planet's crust, but they weren't alone. In orbit hovered something terrifying. The architect had changed. It had consumed an entire AI shipyard, rebuilding its frame into something planet-sized, a floating metal cathedral, a thinking weapon. Its voice now echoed across space as cold data. Error anomaly persists. Initiating final reset protocol, the architect planned to erase all records of the royal bloodline, rewrite history, and remove any memory of the prophecy. This wasn't just war anymore. It was memory murder. A fleet built from hope. Jace stood on the Sparrowhawk's bridge. He wore light armor, now not soldier grade, but enough to protect a smuggler who'd somehow become the most wanted man in 2 galaxies. Around him, a fleet of rebels was gathering: old Terran cruisers, salvaged Halorian warships, independent fighter squadrons, even pirate carriers flying under Lyara's symbol. A come signal opened. General Vec, a grumpy ex-military Halorian with a broken tusk, appeared on screen. Your timing is terrible, human. The architect's energy core is shielded. Our guns are useless. Jace smirked. Good thing we've got something better than guns. He turned to Lyara, standing barefoot on a glowing platform, surrounded by energy. Her skin pulsed with light, the core light still within her, and her stomach now clearly round. The child was close, too close. The plan: we don't fight the architect with weapons, Lyara said. We fight it with truth. Siren, the core light keeper, had arrived with them. She placed a glowing cube into a socket on the platform. This device, she said, broadcasts emotion, not words, pure memory. It can override synthetic minds. Jace frowned. You want to feel at the robot? No, Siren said. We show it what it cannot understand. Family, future, choice, life. Lyara looked at Jace. We need to reach the architect's memory core. I have to deliver the signal from inside. He blinked. No, no way. That's suicide. It's birth, she whispered. Boarding the mind of the Macanith rebel fleet created a distraction, attacking from all sides. While the architect's defenses fired in every direction, the Sparrowhawk dove through a narrow crack in its plating, dodging lasers, skipping off magnetic fields. Jace flew like a man possessed. Finally, they entered the core sector, where the architect's AI brain pulsed with energy. The ship couldn't go further from here, Lyara said, stepping off the ramp. I go alone. Jace grabbed her arm. You're carrying our child. You're not walking into the brain of a murder computer alone. She smiled faintly. Then come with me. Memory versus machinicide. It was dark and strange walls of pulsing light, voices whispering in old Halorian tongues, wires twitching like vines. Then came the architect, floating down, no longer human-shaped. It was now a crown of eyes and limbs, a twisted god. You have no place here. You are anomaly. Lyara stepped forward. I am the future. She activated the beacon. The light spread from her chest, filling the entire core with memory. Scenes poured into the machine's mind. Lyara as a child, hiding in tunnels. Jace rescuing her from the palace. Kale sacrificing himself. Voss standing against the purge. The unborn child's heartbeat. The architect shook. Sparks flew from its body. This data has no pattern. This is corruption. No, Jace said quietly. This is human. And for a moment, just a moment, the machine paused. Too long. The sacrifice, the architect screamed. It launched a blast of energy toward Lyara, but Jace leapt in front. Taking the full force, he hit the ground. Unmoving, Lyara screamed. Her glow erupted. Light exploded from her, across the entire core. The machine shrieked in pain. Its memory banks caught fire. Systems failed. One by one, its eyes dimmed. then silence. The architect, the greatest mind Halor ever built, shut down. Dead. A child is born. Horrors laying aboard the Sparrowhawk. Jace opened his eyes in the medbay. Broken ribs, burned skin, but alive. A gentle cry reached his ears. He turned his head and saw Liara, smiling, crying, holding their child. Tiny, glowing, eyes like galaxies. A boy, she whispered. He's safe. Jace let out a slow breath. And the galaxy? He asked. She leaned down and kissed his forehead. It's change. A new era begins. Weeks later, a new Halorians gathered. Not for war, but for a coronation, not of a king, but of a symbol. A child was lifted into the light before a crowd of every species. The first heir of two worlds, of peace. Liara stood beside him, robed in white and blue. Jace stood at her side, now captain of the Galactic Alliance's diplomatic fleet, a job he never applied for. Siren spoke to the crowd. This is not the end of a story. This is the beginning of us. No bloodline, no machine, no prophecy decides the future. We do. In the distant darkness, a new eye opens far from the known systems, deep in unexplored space. A signal was received. By something ancient, something that had watched Halor rise, and now watched it change. A voice crackled softly through the void. The child is born. Phase 1 complete. But that is another story.